Right now, as you watch this, you're on the edge of something extraordinary. Picture this. Tonight, while the world sleeps, you'll be taking the first step toward a complete mental transformation. Tomorrow, you'll wake up as a different person. A person who is focused, confident, and unstoppable. A person who no longer hesitates or doubts their own potential. This isn't some fantasy or motivational fluff. This is real. All it takes is one night to change everything. Tonight, you're going to reprogram your mind at a level most people can't even comprehend. The kind of transformation that will leave you feeling stronger, sharper, and with a drive that's impossible to ignore. And there's just one thing you need to hear. One word, one key that will unlock the power that's been buried inside you all along. Once you hear it, your life won't just change, it will evolve. It won't be a shift you just feel, it'll be a total rebirth. Your mindset, your energy, your outlook on life will be forever transformed. This is the moment, the night everything changes, the night that sets the stage for your new, unstoppable self. Don't let it pass you by. Are you ready to step into the next version of yourself?
Carrying signals between neurons. When you consistently direct your thoughts in new patterns, your brain literally builds new circuits to support these patterns. Within the first 3 days, you'll notice subtle but significant changes in how you perceive your daily experiences. Where you once saw obstacles, you'll start noticing opportunities. This isn't just positive thinking, it's your brain's reticular activating system being reprogrammed to filter reality. Your brain is actually changing which information it brings to your attention. By day 4 and 5, you'll begin experiencing what we call synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that align with your new thought patterns. This happens because your brain's new neural networks are now actively seeking evidence to support your new beliefs. It's like tuning a radio to a new frequency, and suddenly you're picking up signals that were always there but weren't previously in your range of perception. Let me share a case that illustrates this beautifully. Sarah, a participant in our 7-day program, had spent years thinking, I'm not creative. After 5 days of consistent practice, she found herself spontaneously coming up with solutions to problems at work that had stumped her team for months. Her brain had literally built new pathways for creative thinking, and these pathways were becoming her new default operating system. The physical changes in your brain during this process are remarkable. Through neuroplasticity, your brain is constantly creating and strengthening synaptic connections based on your repeated thoughts and emotions. When you maintain elevated emotions while focusing on your new declarations, you're actually accelerating this process. Your brain releases neurochemicals that facilitate faster learning and stronger neural connections. By day 6 and 7, many participants report feeling what we call the new normal. Activities and thoughts that once required conscious effort start happening automatically. It's like your brain has installed and optimized a new operating system. One participant described it as finally feeling natural in my own skin. This isn't coincidence, it's neuroscience in action. Your brain physically restructuring itself to support your new way of being. Remember, these changes aren't temporary. Every time you repeat your new thought patterns with elevated emotion, you're strengthening these new neural pathways, making them more permanent. You're literally building a new brain that supports your highest potential. Let me address the exact challenges you'll face during the 7-day transformation and how to overcome them. The first and most common obstacle is what I call the familiar pull. Your brain trying to drag you back to your old thought patterns. When this happens, remember, discomfort is the sign of rewiring. Just like a muscle feels uncomfortable when you're building strength, your brain experiences resistance when building new neural pathways. You'll likely experience moments where it feels like nothing is changing, This is when most people give up. But here's what's actually happening. Your brain is in a consolidation phase. Think of it like building a house. There are times when progress is visible, like putting up walls, and times when crucial work is happening below the surface, like concrete setting. Both are equally important for lasting change. Consistency is often challenged by what I call life interference, busy schedules, unexpected events, or emotional triggers that tempt you to skip your practice. Here's your solution. Rather than aiming for perfect practice, here's your solution. Rather than aiming for perfect practice, aim for persistent practice. If you miss a morning session, don't wait until tomorrow to start rewiring your brain. Building resilience isn't about avoiding setbacks. It's about how quickly you bounce back. When you catch yourself falling into old patterns, don't waste energy on self-criticism. Instead, use this response. Thank you for showing me where I need to strengthen my practice. Then immediately return to your new thought patterns with even more intensity. The key to maintaining consistency lies in what I call micro commitments. Don't think about all 7 days at once. Focus on the next thought, the next hour, the next declaration. Success in this process isn't measured by perfect performance. It's measured by your ability to return to the practice again and again, no matter how many times you get distracted. Remember, every challenge you face is actually strengthening your new neural pathways. Each time you overcome resistance, you're not just changing your thoughts, you're building a more resilient brain that's better equipped to maintain these changes long term. The time for waiting is over. Right here, in this moment, you hold the power to completely transform who you are. These next 7 days aren't just another week in your life. They're the foundation of your new reality. Your brain is waiting right now to be reshaped by the thoughts you choose in this moment. Think about this. Every great transformation in human history started with a single decision, a single moment where someone said, enough. This is your moment. Your brain's neuroplasticity isn't waiting for someday, for the perfect time, for when you feel ready. It's active right now, in this very second, ready to begin building new neural pathways based on your next thought. You already have everything you need. Your brain's ability to change isn't something you need to earn or develop. It's built into your biology, waiting to be activated by your decisions. Every cell in your body is listening to your thoughts right now, ready to begin reshaping itself according to your new directions. Picture yourself 7 days from now. The person you'll be isn't just thinking different thoughts, they're operating from an entirely new level of being. They're making decisions from strength instead of fear, seeing opportunities instead of obstacles, creating their reality instead of reacting to it. That person isn't just a possibility, they're an inevitability once you commit to this process. Remember this final truth. You're not just changing your thoughts. You're awakening your brain's natural ability to evolve. Every time you've changed in the past, every skill you've learned, every habit you've developed, these were all your brain demonstrating its power to transform. Now, you're simply directing that power consciously with purpose and precision. The next 7 days belong to you. Your brain is ready. Your potential is waiting. The only question that remains is, will you begin? Right now. Right now, in this very moment, you have the power to change your life. You are the creator of your reality, and today we're going to talk about how to tap into that incredible power within you. It all starts with 2 simple words: relax and trust. Think about it. How often do we spend our days rushing around, stressed out, worried about what might happen? We're constantly on edge, trying to control everything around us. But what if I told you that the key to getting everything you want is actually to let go? That's right. The secret to manifesting your desires, to creating the life of your dreams, is to relax and trust. It sounds so simple, doesn't it? But it's a profound truth that can transform your entire existence. When you relax, you open yourself up to the infinite possibilities of the universe. Your mind becomes clear, your body becomes calm, and you create space for miracles to happen. And when you trust, you align yourself with the natural flow of life. You stop fighting against the current and start moving with it. When you use the really exciting part, when you combine relaxation and trust with expectation, that's when the magic happens. That's when you start to see results, not in some distant future, but right here, right now, today. So many of us have been conditioned to believe that change takes time, that we need to work hard, struggle, and suffer before we can achieve our goals. But what if I told you that's not true? What if I told you that you can expect miracles to happen the same day you set your intention? It might sound too good to be true, but I've seen it happen time and time again. I've witnessed people heal from chronic illnesses, manifest their dream jobs, find their soulmates, all in a matter of days or even hours. And it all started with them deciding to relax, trust, and expect great things to happen. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but Joe, I've tried positive thinking before. I've tried visualizing. It didn't work for me, and I hear you. I really do. But here's the thing. It's not just about thinking positive thoughts or visualizing it's about feeling it. It's about embodying the reality you desire right now in this very moment. When you truly relax and trust, you enter a state of being where anything is possible. Your body releases tension, your mind becomes clear, and you tap into a field of infinite potential. In this state, you're no longer separate from your desires. You become one with them. And here's where expectation comes in. When you expect something to happen, you're not hoping for it or wishing for it. You're knowing it. You're living as if it's already happened. And that's when the universe starts to respond. You see, the universe doesn't understand the difference between what's happening in your outer world and what's happening in your inner world. When you can create the feeling of having what you want before it actually manifests in your physical reality, that's when you become a true creator. So how do we do this? How do we relax, trust, and expect miracles to happen today? It all starts with your thoughts and your energy. Every thought you think sends out a signal to the universe. It's like dropping a pebble in a pond. Ripples spread out, affecting everything around you. When you think thoughts of lack, of fear, of worry, you're sending out a signal that creates more of those experiences in your life. But when you choose to think thoughts of abundance, of love, of possibility, you're creating a whole different reality. You're tuning into a different frequency, one where miracles are not only possible but expected. And it's not just about your thoughts, it's about your energy, your vibration. Every emotion you feel is sending out a signal to the universe. When you feel stressed, anxious, or frustrated, you're vibrating at a low frequency. But when you can relax, when you can trust, when you can feel joy and gratitude even before your desires manifest, that's when you're vibrating at a frequency that attracts miracles. So how do we shift our thoughts and our energy? It starts with awareness. Pay attention to what you're thinking and feeling throughout the day. Notice when you're caught up in stress or worry, and then make a conscious choice to shift. Take a deep breath. Feel your body, relax, and then ask yourself, what would I be thinking right now if I truly believed that everything was working out perfectly for me? How would I feel if I knew that my desires were already on their way to me? This is where meditation comes in. When you meditate, you create space between your thoughts. You step out of the constant chatter of your mind and into a place of peace and possibility. In this space, you can start to reprogram your subconscious mind. You see, most of our thoughts and behaviors are controlled by our subconscious mind. It's like an autopilot that's been programmed by our past experiences, our beliefs, our environment. But when we meditate, we can access this subconscious mind and start to change the program. In meditation, you can visualize your desired reality. But remember, it's not just about seeing it in your mind's eye. It's about feeling it with every cell of your body. What would it feel like to have perfect health? What would it feel like to be financially abundant? What would it feel like to be in a loving, supportive relationship? As you sit in meditation, allow yourself to fully embody these feelings. Let them wash over you. Let them fill you up. And as you do this, you're literally changing your brain chemistry. You're creating new neural pathways that support your new reality. But here's the can't just do this once and expect miracles to happen. This needs to become a daily practice. Every day, take time to relax, to trust, to expect great things. Make it as much a part of your routine as brushing your teeth or eating breakfast. And as you do this, pay attention to the signs around you. The universe is always communicating with us, always guiding us towards our highest good. But so often we're too busy, too stressed, too caught up in our own thoughts to notice. When you relax and trust, you become more attuned to these signs. You start to notice synchronicities, those little coincidences that seem too perfect to be random. Maybe you think of someone and they call you moments later, or you keep seeing the same number everywhere you look, or you overhear a conversation that gives you exactly the information you need. These are all signs that you're on the right track. They're confirmations from the universe that it's heard your desires and is working to bring them to you. But you have to be open to receiving them. You have to trust that they're there. Brings us to another important point. Gratitude, when you're grateful for what you already have, you open yourself up to receiving more. It's like telling the universe, hey, I really appreciate everything you've given me. I'm ready for more. So make gratitude a part of your daily practice. Every morning when you wake up, before you even get out of bed, think of 3 things you're grateful for. Feel the gratitude in your body, let it fill you up, and then carry that feeling with you throughout your day. Now I know what some of you might be thinking. But Joe, what about action? Don't we need to do something to make our dreams come true? And you're absolutely right. Action is important, but it's not about forcing things to happen or struggling against the current. When you're relaxed, when you're trusting, when you're expecting great things to happen, the right actions will become clear to you. You'll feel inspired to take certain steps. You'll be in the right place at the right time to meet the right people. Opportunities will present themselves to you. This is what I call inspired action. It's not about pushing and striving. It's about flowing with the natural current of life. It's about following your intuition, trusting your gut, and taking steps that feel right to you. When you're taking inspired action, it doesn't feel like work. It feels like play. It feels like you're doing exactly what you're meant to be doing. And that's when miracles start to happen. Now, let's talk about expectation. This is where so many people trip up. They say they want something, but deep down, they don't really believe it's possible for them. They have doubts, fears, limiting beliefs that hold them back. But when you truly expect something to happen, when you know it in your bones, that's when the universe moves mountains to make it happen. And the key to expectation is to detach from the outcome. What do I mean by that? Well, when we're attached to a specific outcome, we're often coming from a place of lack. We're saying, I need this to happen or else I won't be happy. And that energy of need, of desperation, actually pushes our desires away from us. But when we can detach from the outcome, when we can say, I'd love for this to happen, but I know that whatever happens is for my highest good, that's when we open ourselves up to receive even more than we could have imagined. So expect great things to happen, but hold that expectation lightly. Trust that the universe has a plan for you that's even better than what you can conceive with your limited human mind. And remember, expectation isn't about waiting for something to happen in the future. It's about living as if it's already happened. It's about bringing the future into the present moment. So often, we put our happiness on hold. We say, I'll be happy when I get that job, or I'll feel successful when I make a certain amount of money, or I'll feel loved when I find the right partner. But the truth is, you can feel all of those things right now. You can feel successful before you make your first million. You can feel love before you meet your soulmate. You can feel healthy before the physical symptoms disappear. And when you can create those feelings within yourself, that's when you become a magnet for the experiences that match those feelings. This is what it means to live in the end result. It's about embodying the version of yourself that already has everything you desire. How would that version of you think? How would they feel? How would they carry themselves? How would they speak? Start living as that version of yourself today. Don't wait for external circumstances to change. Be the change you want to see in your life. Now, I know this might sound challenging. I know it might feel like a big leap from where you are now to where you want to be. But remember, you don't have to make this leap all at once. You can start small. Start with just 5 minutes a day. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and imagine yourself living your ideal life. Feel the feelings associated with that life. Let them fill your body. And then when you open your eyes, carry those feelings with you into your day. As you do this consistently, you'll start to notice changes. Maybe at first it's just small things. You feel a little more peaceful. You handle stress a little better. You notice more moments of joy throughout your day. But as you continue this practice, as you make it a regular part of your life, you'll start to see bigger changes. Opportunities will start to present themselves. People will be drawn to your energy. Things that used to bother you won't affect you as much. And before you know it, you'll look around and realize that your life has transformed. Not because you struggled and pushed and forced things to happen, but because you relaxed, trusted, and expected great things to come to you. Now, I want to address something that often comes up when we talk about manifesting our desires. Some people worry that it's selfish to focus on what we want. They think that wanting more for ourselves somehow takes away from others. But here's the truth. When you raise your vibration, when you create a better life for yourself, you raise the vibration of everyone around you. Your joy, your success, your abundance doesn't take away from anyone else. In fact, it inspires others to reach for more in their own lives. Think about it. When you're around someone who's happy, confident, and successful, how does it make you feel? Doesn't it make you believe that more is possible for you too? That's the ripple effect of raising your own vibration. So don't hold back. Don't dim your light. The world needs you to be your best, most abundant, most joyful self. Because when you're living at your highest potential, you inspire others to do the same. Now, let's talk about something that often gets in the way of us relaxing, trusting, and expecting great things. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of the unknown. These fears can keep us stuck, can keep us playing small. It's just a thought. It's not real. It's a projection of the mind based on past experiences or imagined future scenarios. And just as you can choose to think thoughts of lack or abundance, you can choose whether or not to believe your fears. When fear comes up, and it will, don't try to fight it or push it away. Instead, acknowledge it. Thank it for trying to protect you, and then choose to focus on trust instead. Choose to believe that no matter what happens, you have the strength and resilience to handle it. Remember, every time you choose trust over fear, you're rewiring your brain. You're creating new neural pathways that support your new empowered reality. And speaking of the brain, let's talk about neuroplasticity for a moment. This is the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections throughout life. What this means is that your brain is constantly changing based on your thoughts, experiences, and behaviors. When you consistently practice relaxation, trust, and positive expectation, you're literally changing the structure of your brain. You're creating new neural pathways that support these states of being. And the more you practice, the stronger these pathways become. This is why consistency is so important. It's not about having one great meditation session or one day where you feel really positive. It's about making these practices a regular part of your life. It's about choosing again and again to focus on what you want rather than what you don't want. Now, I want to address something that often comes up when people start this work. They'll say, but Joe, I've tried to think positively before and nothing changed. And I hear you, I really do. But here's what I want you to understand. This work isn't just about thinking positive thoughts. It's about aligning your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. You see, your thoughts create your feelings. Your feelings drive your actions, and your actions create your results. So if you're thinking positive thoughts but still feeling fearful or doubtful, your actions will reflect that fear and doubt, and your results will match. That's why it's so important to not just think about what you want, but to feel it, to embody it, to live as if it's already your reality. Because when your thoughts, feelings, and actions are all aligned, that's when you become unstoppable. This work isn't about forcing yourself to feel happy all the time. It's not about denying your negative emotions or pretending everything is perfect when it's not. It's about acknowledging where you are, accepting it, and then consciously choosing where you want to go from there. If you're feeling sad or angry or frustrated, allow yourself to feel those emotions. Don't try to push them away, but also don't get stuck in them. Feel them, acknowledge them, and ask yourself, what would I rather feel instead, and how can I move towards that feeling? This is where the power of choice comes in. In every moment, you have the power to choose your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. You have the power to choose what you focus on, and what you focus on expand. So focus on what you want, not on what you don't want. Focus on where you're going, not on where you've been. Focus on what's possible, not on what's limiting you. And remember, this isn't about ignoring reality or living in denial. It's about understanding that your perception creates your reality. Two people can look at the exact same situation and see completely different things based on their mindset and beliefs. So choose to see the good, choose to see the opportunities, choose to see the lessons in every experience. Because when you do that, you open yourself up to a whole new world of possibilities. Now, let's talk about energy for a moment. Everything in the universe is energy, vibrating at different frequencies, and like attracts like. This means that the energy you put out into the world is what you'll attract back to you. If you're vibrating at a frequency of stress, worry, and lack, you'll attract more experiences that match that frequency. But if you're vibrating at a frequency of peace, joy, and abundance, you'll attract experiences that match that instead. So how do you raise your vibration? It starts with your thoughts and feelings, as we've discussed, but it also involves taking care of your physical body, eating nourishing foods, getting enough sleep, exercising regularly. All of these things affect your energy and your ability to maintain a high vibration. Meditation is another powerful tool for raising your vibration. When you meditate, you quiet the chatter of your mind and tap into a field of pure potential. You align yourself with the energy of the universe, and in doing so, you raise your own vibration. When you raise your vibration, you don't just affect yourself. You affect everyone and everything around you. You become like a lighthouse, radiating positive energy and inspiring others to raise their vibration too. Now, I want to talk about something that often trips people up on this journey: the need for certainty. We humans love certainty. We want to know exactly how things are going to turn out. We want guarantees. But here's the truth: life is inherently uncertain, and that uncertainty. But here's the truth: life is inherently uncertain, and that uncertainty is actually a gift. It's what makes life exciting, full of possibilities. When you can embrace uncertainty, when you can see it as an adventure rather than a threat, that's when you open yourself up to true miracles. Think about it. If you knew exactly how everything was going to turn out, where would be the excitement? Where would be the growth? Where would be the opportunity for the universe to surprise you with something even better than what you could have imagined? So instead of seeking certainty, seek trust. Trust in yourself. Trust in the universe. Trust that everything is always working out for your highest good, even if you can't see how in the moment. The concept of surrender. Now, surrender doesn't mean giving up or being passive. It means letting go of the need to control everything. It means trusting in a higher power, whether you call that God, the universe, source energy, or something else. When you surrender, you release the tension of trying to make things happen. You allow yourself to be guided. You open yourself up to receive. And often, what comes to you when you surrender is far greater than what you could have achieved through force or control. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but Joe, I have goals. I have things I want to achieve. How can I surrender and still work towards my goals? And that's a great question. The key is to set your intentions, to be clear about what you want, and then to release attachment to how it comes about. Do your part. Take inspired action, but then let go and trust that the universe will take care of the rest. It's like planting seed. You prepare the soil, you plant the seed, you water it, you make sure it gets sunlight, but you don't dig up the seed every day to see if it's growing. You trust in the natural process. You know that in time, if you've done your part, the plant will grow. Your dreams and goals are like that seed. Plant them with clear intention. Nourish them with your thoughts and actions, but then trust in the process. Trust that they're growing even if you can't see the results yet. And this brings us to another crucial aspect of manifesting your desires: patience. In our fast-paced world, we often want everything to happen instantly. We set an intention and then we want to see results right. But remember, just because you can't see something happening doesn't mean nothing is happening. Often the biggest changes are happening beneath the surface, like that seed germinating underground before it breaks through the soil. So be patient with yourself and with the process. Trust that everything is unfolding in perfect timing. And in the meantime, enjoy the journey. Find joy in the present moment rather than always looking to the future for your happiness. Now, let's talk about something that can really accelerate your manifestations. Gratitude. Gratitude is like a magnet for miracles. When you're grateful for what you have, you open yourself up to receive even more. Start and end each day with gratitude. Before you get out of bed in the morning, think of 3 things you're grateful for. As you're falling asleep at night, review your day and find things to appreciate. And throughout your day, look for things to be grateful for. At first, you might have to really search for things to appreciate, especially if you're going through a challenging time. But the more you practice gratitude, the more automatic it becomes. You'll start to notice beauty and blessings everywhere you look. That's thing to start being grateful for things before they happen. Be grateful for the job you want as if you already have it. Be grateful for the perfect health you desire as if it's already your reality. Be grateful for the loving relationship you're calling in as if your partner is already by your side. This is what it means to live in the end result. It's about feeling the feelings of having what you want before it manifests in your physical reality. And when you can do this, you become an unstoppable force of creation. Now, I want to address something that often comes up when people start seeing results with this work. They'll manifest something they've been wanting, and then they'll start to doubt. They'll think, was that just a coincidence? Did I really create that? There are no coincidences. Everything that happens in your life is a result of your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. Everything is a reflection of your inner world. So when you start to see positive changes in your life, celebrate them. Acknowledge your role in creating them. Because when you do this, you reinforce your belief in your own power. You strengthen your faith in the process, and you open yourself up to create even more amazing things. Remember, what you appreciate appreciates. So the more you acknowledge and appreciate the good things in your life, the more good things you'll attract. Now, let's talk about something that can really supercharge your manifestations. The power of your words. The words you speak are like spells that you cast on your life. They have the power to create or destroy, to heal or harm. Pay attention to the words you use, both when you're talking to others and when you're talking to yourself. Are you constantly complaining? Are you speaking about lack and limitation? Or are you using words of abundance, possibility, and gratitude? Make a conscious effort to speak in a way that aligns with what you want to create. Instead of saying, I can't afford that, try that's not a priority for me right now. Instead of I'm so stressed, try I'm learning to handle challenges with grace. And most importantly, be mindful of how you talk to yourself. Your self-talk shapes your reality more than anything else. Speak to yourself with kindness, encouragement, and love. Be your own biggest cheerleader. Now, I want to address something that often comes up when people start this work. They'll say, but Joe, what about my past? I've made mistakes. I've had setbacks. How can I move past that? And here's what I want you to understand. Your past does not define your future. Your past experiences have shaped who you are, yes, but they don't determine who you can become. Every moment is a new beginning. Every breath is an opportunity to start fresh. You are not your past mistakes or failures. You are not your limiting beliefs or old patterns. You are a powerful creator capable of reinventing yourself at any moment. So instead of dwelling on the past, use it as a springboard for growth. What lessons have you learned? How have your challenges made you stronger? How can you use your experiences to fuel your growth and help others? When you can reframe your past in this way, it no longer holds you back. Instead, it becomes a powerful tool for transformation. Now, let's talk about something that's crucial for maintaining this practice over the long term. Self-care, taking care of yourself, isn't selfish. It's necessary. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't radiate positive energy if you're depleted, so make self-care a priority. This means different things for different people. It might mean taking time for meditation or exercise. It might mean saying no to commitments that drain you. It might mean spending time in nature or pursuing a hobby you love. Whatever self-care looks like for you, make it non-negotiable. Schedule it into your day, just like you would any other important appointment. Because when you take care of yourself, you have so much more to give to others and to your dreams. And remember, self-care isn't just about your physical health. It's about your mental and emotional health too. Pay attention to the thoughts you're feeding your mind. Are you constantly consuming negative news or engaging in gossip? Or are you feeding your mind with inspiring books, uplifting conversations, and positive affirmations? Your mind is like a garden. What you plant and nourish is what will grow. So be intentional about what you're planting in your mental garden. Now, as we start to wrap up, I want to remind you of something important. This work is a journey, not a destination. There will be ups and downs. There will be days when you feel on top of the world and days when you struggle to stay positive. And that's okay. That's part of the human experience. The key is not to judge yourself for having these fluctuations, but to observe them with compassion and curiosity. On the days when you're feeling great, really lean into that feeling. Amplify it. Let it fill every cell of your body. And on the days when you're struggling, be gentle with yourself. Remember that this too shall pass. And use the tools we've discussed: meditation, gratitude, positive self-talk, to help shift your energy. Remember, you're not trying to be perfect. You're not trying to feel amazing 100 at a time. You're simply committing to a practice of conscious creation. You're choosing again and again to focus on what you want rather than what you don't want. And as you do this consistently, you'll start to notice changes. Maybe at first it's just small things. You feel a little more peaceful. You handle stress a little better. You notice more moments of joy throughout your day. But as you continue this practice, as you make it a regular part of your life, you'll start to see bigger changes. Opportunities will start to present themselves. People will be drawn to your energy. Things that used to bother you won't affect you as much. And before you know it, you'll look around and realize that your life has transformed. Not because you struggled and pushed and forced things to happen, but because you relaxed, trusted, and expected great things to come to you. So I invite you, starting today, to make this your practice. Relax into the flow of life. Trust that everything is always working out for your highest good, and expect miracles to happen, not someday in the future, but right here, right now. Remember, you are the creator of your reality. You have the power to shape your life in any way you choose. So choose wisely. Choose thoughts that empower you. Choose feelings that uplift you. Choose actions that align with your highest vision for yourself. Most importantly, choose to believe in yourself. Because when you believe in yourself, when you truly know your own power, there's nothing you can't achieve. So go forth and create. Relax and trust. Expect miracles and watch as your life transforms in ways you never thought possible. The universe is waiting to support you. All you have to do is open yourself up to receive. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for committing to this journey of transformation. And remember, every moment is a new opportunity to choose again, to align with your highest self, and to create the life of your dreams. You've got this. Now go out there and shine your light. The world is waiting for your unique gifts. Embrace your power and let the magic unfold. If I suddenly had some minutes to speak to the whole world, all I would say is a lot can happen in a year. Your life will not be the same a year from now, no matter what. There's simply nothing you can do about it. But how your life has changed a year from now is up to you. You see, you have two options in your life. And whether you like it or not, you're choosing one of these options every single day. And that's option one is the easy and safe option of staying exactly where you are. Option two is the uncomfortable choice of making a change. The reason you're here right now is probably because you've been choosing option one for too long. And I hate to break it to you, but there's not a single self-improvement book, podcast, or motivational quote that can do the actual work for you. As long as you keep being the audience of change, the only thing changing will be the entertainment. You need to change how you see things in order for the things you see to change. So this simple mathematical fact will forever change how you view working on your goals. If you just focus on becoming 1% better every day for a year, you will end up 37 times better than you were when you started. 37 times. All it takes is for you to improve just 1% every day. The best part, every day it gets a little easier. But you got to do it every day. That's the hard part. The reason you're quitting or not even starting is because the wall you're trying to climb is too damn high. You're not focusing on just 1% daily improvement. You're focusing on all 100% at the same time. While taking the first step might be crucial, continuing to take small steps every single day is even more important, because you simply cannot fail if you just keep trying. So what if you started working on your dream today? What if you took that first step and then kept showing up for yourself? Because it's never too late to make a change. It's never too late to show up for yourself. You might not be able to go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are right now and change the ending. Let me tell you something fascinating about your brain. Right now, as I speak these words, your neurons are firing in specific patterns, creating what scientists call neural pathways. These pathways are like highways in your brain. And here's the amazing part. Every time you think a thought, you're either strengthening an existing highway or building a new one. Think about your morning routine. You wake up, and without even thinking, you might reach for your phone, check social media, feel a certain way about what you see, and react in predictable patterns. That's not just habit, that's your brain running on autopilot, following the same neural highways it's been using for years. But here's where it gets really interesting. When you decide to change a pattern, let's say instead of reaching for your phone, you sit in silence for 5 minutes, your brain actually starts creating new neural connections. At first, it feels uncomfortable, even wrong. Why? Because your brain is literally carving out new neural pathways through unexplored territory. The science behind this is remarkable. Every time you make a conscious choice to do something different, your brain releases different neurotransmitters. Instead of the usual cocktail of chemicals that keep you stuck in old patterns, you start producing new combinations that support change. It's like switching from running on gasoline to running on electricity. Same car, completely different fuel system. Let me give you a practical example. Think about someone who's always worried about money. Every time they check their bank account, pay a bill, or make a purchase, their brain automatically triggers stress chemicals, cortisol, adrenaline. This creates a feedback loop. Stress about money leads to more stress about money. But when they consciously choose to pause before reacting, to look at their finances with curiosity instead of fear, they're literally rewiring their brain's response to money. The biochemistry of change is happening in your body right now. Every cell is listening to your thoughts, responding to your emotions. When you stay in the same emotional patterns day after day, your cells become addicted to those emotional states. That's why change feels so hard. You're not just fighting mental habits, you're fighting cellular addiction to familiar emotional states. But here's the beautiful truth. Your body knows how to change. It's designed for adaptation. Every night when you sleep, your body repairs and rebuilds itself. Every time you learn something new, your brain creates new connections. Every time you choose a different response to an old trigger, you're breaking the addiction to the past. Think about learning to drive a car. Remember how overwhelming it felt at first? You had to consciously think about every single action, check mirrors, signal, brake, accelerate. Now you do it automatically. That's the power of neural pathways. You created new patterns in your brain through consistent practice. The same principle applies to any change you want to make in your life. Your brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's vividly imagined. That's why visualization is so powerful. When you consistently imagine yourself responding differently to situations, handling challenges with grace, or achieving your goals, your brain starts building the neural pathways to support those new patterns. You're literally rewiring your brain for success before you even take action in the physical world. The science is clear. Change is not just possible, it's natural. Your brain is changing right now as you listen to these words. The question is, are you consciously directing that change, or are you letting old patterns run the show? You know those thoughts that keep playing in your head like a broken record? I'm not good enough. This always happens to me. I can't do it. These aren't just random thoughts. They're patterns you've been rehearsing for years, maybe decades. Every time you repeat these thoughts, you're reinforcing neural networks that keep you stuck in the same story. Let's get real about your past experiences. They're not just memories. They become programs running in your subconscious mind. When something happened that hurt you, disappointed you, or scared you, your brain created a survival mechanism. It's like your brain said, I'll remember this so it never happens again. But here's the thing, that protective mechanism doesn't know the difference between then and now. Keeps running the same program even when the threat is long gone. Think about a kid who got laughed at when they spoke up in class. 20 years later, they're still feeling that same fear in business meetings. Their body is producing the same stress chemicals, the same emotional response, even though they're no longer that vulnerable child. That's not their limitation. That's just an old program running on autopilot. But here's where it gets exciting. Every time you become aware of these patterns, you create a gap between stimulus and response. In that gap lies your power to choose differently. When you notice yourself falling into an old pattern and consciously choose a different response, you're literally rewiring your brain. You're telling your body, we don't need to run that old program anymore. We're creating something new. So small decisions compound into massive changes. It's like compound interest for your personal growth. When you choose to pause before reacting with anger, that's creating a new neural pathway. When you choose to take action despite fear, that's strengthening new connections in your brain. When you choose to believe in possibility instead of limitation, that's rewiring your neural networks. These small decisions might not feel significant in the moment. You might think, how can pausing for 5 seconds before responding to that email really change anything? But that's exactly how transformation happens. Every time you make a conscious choice that's different from your automatic response, you're building new neural highways. It's like laying down one brick at a time. Eventually, you'll have built an entirely new road. Your brain is constantly looking for evidence to support what you believe. If you believe you can't do something, your brain will find all the reasons why that's true. But when you start making different choices, taking different actions, your brain starts collecting evidence for your new story. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, but this time it's working in your favor. The power to break through these self-imposed limitations isn't in some grand gesture or momentous decision. It's in the small choices you make moment by moment, day by day. It's in catching yourself when you start to spiral into old patterns and choosing a different thought, a different emotion, a different response. Let's talk about something that's happening right now, your breathing. Most people take around 200 breaths every day, but how many of those breaths do they actually notice? This simple act of bringing awareness to your breath demonstrates the incredible power of present moment awareness. It's in this awareness that true transformation begins. You and the body are in constant communication. Every thought triggers a cascade of chemical reactions in your body. When you're lost in thoughts about past or worried about the future, your body responds as if those events are happening right now. Your heart rate changes, your muscles tense, your hormones fluctuate. Think about the last time you were caught up in anxiety about something that might happen. Your body didn't wait to see if that thing actually happened. It started producing stress chemicals immediately. That's because your body can't tell the difference between what's happening now and what you're thinking about. It responds to your thoughts as if they're reality. But here's the game-changing truth. You can break these automatic programs through present moment awareness. When you bring your attention fully into the now, something remarkable happens. Those automatic programs that have been running your life start to lose their power. It's like shining a light on a shadow. The shadow can't exist in the presence of light. The science of consciousness shows us that when you're fully present, your brain starts operating differently. Instead of being caught in the same old neural networks, you start activating new parts of your brain. Your frontal lobe, the part responsible for conscious decision-making, becomes more engaged. You shift from reactive to responsive, from automatic to intentional. Let me explain how this creates new possibilities. When you're running on automatic, your brain is basically predicting the future based on the past. It's saying, this is how things always go, so this is how they'll go this time. But when you're present, you interrupt that predictive pattern. You create space for something new to emerge. Every single moment is pregnant with infinite possibilities. But you can only access these possibilities when you're present. When you're caught up in old programs, you're literally blind to the opportunities around you. It's like wearing glasses with the wrong prescription. Everything looks blurry and distorted. The science of consciousness tells us something fascinating. Your observation of reality actually influences reality. Quantum physics has shown that particles behave differently when they're being observed. Think about what this means for your life. When you bring conscious awareness to your patterns, your relationships, your habits, you're not just observing them, you're actually changing them. This isn't just theoretical, it's practical and powerful. When you catch yourself in an old pattern and bring awareness to it, you're actually changing the neural networks in your brain. When you notice tension in your body and consciously release it, you're changing your body's chemistry. When you observe your thoughts without getting caught up in them, you're creating new possibilities for how to respond. Present moment awareness is like a superpower that's always available to you. It doesn't require any special equipment or circumstances. All it requires is your attention. And every time you choose to be present, you're strengthening this ability. It's like building a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. The most incredible part is that this awareness is always with you. No matter what's happening in your external world, you always have access to this internal power. It's your gateway to creating new possibilities, to breaking free from old patterns, to experiencing life in a completely new way. Let me share something powerful about your brain's ability to change. You might have heard about neuroplasticity, but what you might not know is that your brain is changing right now, in this moment. Every time you repeat a thought, an action, or a feeling, you're either strengthening existing neural pathways or creating new ones. It's like walking through a field of tall grass. The more you walk the same path, the more defined that path becomes. Memory becomes blank. The universe is in full connection. What happens? That new focus becomes existing in the moment. If you take the time to write this before bed, what happens? That new focus becomes existing in the moment. If you take the time to write this before bed, what happens? That new focus becomes existing in the moment. If you take the time to write this before bed, what happens? That new focus becomes existing in the moment. If you take the time to write this before bed, what happens? But here's what makes this truly extraordinary. You can consciously direct this process. When you understand that your brain is always changing, you can start to be deliberate about how it changes. Think about this. If you're going to create paths in that field anyway, why not create the ones that lead where you want to go? Consistency is absolutely crucial in this process. Your brain operates on a use it or lose it principle. It's like learning to play an instrument. You can't practice for 10 hours one day and then expect to maintain that skill without touching the instrument for a month. The magic happens in the daily practice, in those small moments when you choose to show up for yourself. Let me give you a practical meditation technique that can start rewiring your brain today. First thing in the morning, before you check your phone or start your day, sit quietly and focus on your breath for just 2 minutes. When thoughts come, and they will come, don't fight them. Just notice them and gently bring your attention back to your breath. This simple practice begins to create new neural pathways of focus and calm. As you get comfortable with 2 minutes, extend it to 5, then 10. The key isn't the length of time, it's the consistency. It's better to meditate for 5 minutes every day than for an hour once a week. Why? Because your brain responds to repetition. Each time you sit down to meditate, you're strengthening those neural pathways of focus and presence. Building mental strength is similar to building physical strength. You wouldn't walk into a gym expecting to lift 300 pounds on your first try. You start with what you can manage and gradually increase the weight. The same principle applies to your mental practice. Start where you are, but commit to consistent progress. Here's another powerful practice. Throughout your day, catch yourself when you're running old programs. When you notice yourself falling into a familiar pattern of worry or self-doubt, pause. Take a deep breath. In that pause, you're creating space for new neural connections. Then consciously choose a different response. Maybe instead of worrying about what might go wrong, you focus on what's going well right now. Your brain will resist this at first. That's normal. It's like trying to write with your non-dominant hand. It feels awkward, uncomfortable, maybe even impossible. But remember this, the discomfort you feel is actually a sign that you're creating new neural pathways. That awkward feeling is the sensation of your brain rewiring itself. Think about how many times you've repeated your current patterns. Thousands, maybe millions of times. So of course it's going to take consistent practice to create new patterns. But here's the amazing thing. Your brain is designed for this. It wants to learn, to grow, to create new connections. You're not fighting against your nature, you're aligning with it. Every time you choose to meditate instead of scroll through your phone, every time you pause before reacting, every time you direct your thoughts toward what you want instead of what you fear, you're rewiring your brain. You're literally creating the neural architecture of your future self. And remember, you don't have to be perfect at this. The power isn't in doing it perfectly, it's in doing it consistently. Just like compounds interest transforms small deposits into significant wealth over time, consistent mental practice transforms small changes in thinking into profound changes in being. You know what's fascinating? Most people know exactly what they need to do to change their lives. They've read the books, watched the videos, attended the seminars, but knowing isn't the same as doing. It's like having a recipe but never stepping into the kitchen. The real magic happens when you move from understanding to experience, from theory to practice. Let me tell you a story about transformation. In our research, we've seen people who've had chronic pain for 20 years completely transform their experience in a matter of weeks. Not because they learned new information, but because they finally applied what they knew. They stopped thinking about healing and started experiencing healing. They moved from the mind to the body, from knowledge to practice. The difference between knowing and experiencing is like the difference between reading about swimming and actually getting in the water. You can understand all the mechanics of swimming, but until you feel the water supporting your body, until you coordinate your breathing with your movements, until you experience the buoyancy, you're not really swimming. This is where measurable changes come in. When you start applying what you know, things begin to shift in ways you can actually measure. Your stress hormones decrease. Your heart rate variability improves. Your sleep gets better. Your relationships transform. These aren't just nice ideas, they're tangible, measurable results that show up in your life. I remember working with someone who understood everything about stress management intellectually. They could explain the physiology of stress response, the impact of cortisol on the body, the importance of breathing techniques, but they were still experiencing anxiety attacks. It wasn't until they committed to a daily practice of applying these concepts that things changed. Within weeks, their anxiety attacks decreased. Within months, they were gone completely. The body keeps score. It knows the difference between intellectual understanding and lived experience. When you truly start applying what you know, your body responds. Your genes express differently, your immune system functions better, your brain creates new neural pathways. These aren't just theories, they're biological realities that we can measure and document. Here's what makes this so powerful. Every time you move from knowledge to experience, you're not just changing your mind, you're changing your biology. You're sending different signals to your cells. You're creating new patterns in your brain. You're literally becoming a different person on a biological level. And the best part, these changes compound over time. Just like compound interest in finance, small, consistent actions create exponential results. Every time you choose to apply what you know, instead of just thinking about it, you're adding to your transformation account. The returns might not be visible immediately, but this is why personal transformation isn't about gathering more information. It's about applying what you already know. It's about moving from the mind to the body, from theory to practice, from knowing to being. Because when you make this shift, that's when real, measurable, lasting change begins to happen in your life. Let me tell you something extraordinary about the nature of reality. Everything you can see, touch, and experience is made of energy. Your thoughts are energy, your emotions are energy, your intentions are energy. And here's the fascinating part. Science has shown us that all this energy exists in a vast field of infinite possibilities, what we call the quantum field. Think about this. When you look at your hand under a powerful microscope, what do you see? Cells. Look closer, molecules, even closer, atoms. And what are atoms mostly made of? Space. Empty space with tiny particles of energy moving in specific patterns. You, me, everything we can see, we're all patterns of energy dancing in space. It's a simple, but here's where it gets really interesting. In quantum physics, these particles don't behave like solid objects. They exist as waves of possibility until they're observed. What does this mean for you? It means that your observation, your attention, your intention, they all influence the way energy organizes itself into reality. When you set an intention, you're not just having a thought, you're literally sending a signal into this field of possibilities. But here's the key. It's not enough to just think about what you want. You need to feel it, to experience it emotionally, to connect with it as if it's already happened. Because in the quantum field, time isn't linear like we experience it. Past, present, and future exist simultaneously. Let me explain how this works in practical terms. When you think about your future self, the version of you that's already achieved your goals, you're not just imagining, you're actually connecting with a possibility that already exists in the quantum field. When you feel the emotions of that future reality, when you embody that future state, you're literally drawing that possibility into your present moment. This isn't just mystical thinking, it's supported by science. Research has shown that your heart generates an electromagnetic field that extends several feet beyond your body. This field changes based on your emotional state. When you generate elevated emotions like gratitude, joy, or inspiration, this field becomes more coherent, more powerful. You're literally broadcasting a different signal into the quantum field. And you create more coherence based on a simple, if you will, repetition practice. And creating from the field means aligning your thoughts, feelings, and actions with the future you want to experience. It means training yourself to stay in elevated emotional states regardless of your current circumstances. Because here's the truth, if you wait for your external world to change before you change your internal state, you'll always be stuck in the same patterns. Science of manifestation isn't about magical thinking. It's about understanding how energy works and using that understanding to create deliberate change. When you maintain coherent heart rhythms, when you generate elevated emotions consistently, when you hold clear intentions, you are creating the optimal conditions for new possibilities to emerge in your life.